made some piping last night, and this is a good way to illustrate it, I think, this fabric, because this fabric has a vertical line on the grain line, and what you do to make the piping is you cut bias strips. So you turn the fabric 45 on a 45-degree angle, so you can see that here with this fabric because it has the lines, so you can see that the lines are on a diagonal, and you cut straight through that. About 1.25 inches they called for, and then you take your, I was using this yarn, which is 2 millimeters, they call for 1 millimeter, but from what I was looking at the other night, I think you can go possibly up to 3 millimeters, but depending on what your garment is, I think this 2 millimeter is okay for this. And then you just baste narrow. You fold your strip in half, encasing your cord on the fold, and baste very narrow against the cord so that you end up with the piping. So it's pretty easy to do. Tonight I've put this piping just around the step that is to go along the neckline and the shoulders, and then just stitch down the neckline. So I have to stitch the neckline. I've just basted from the shoulders, from the one shoulder across. And instead of using one long piece, because I didn't have a piece long enough, I just did one that's long enough to go across the shoulder and the neckline, and then just added a new piece here at the shoulder edge. So those are basted on, but now I have to stitch down the part on the neckline. Just going to stitch this piping on the neckline and then gather the shoulders. Some people will grab a second needle and thread it and hold them both, and then do the gathering both rows at the same time. I haven't attempted that before, but and I'm not going to do it now, but that's one way to save time. Leave some seam allowance here. Now there's 3 of them, and the thing about this is we just had a dump of snow the last week or so that's covered them up with snow, and it's melted, and they're still here, flowered, if they're the same ones, and I think it might be. And there's a third. There's some snow left over there. And here are some more. See the snow remnants, but the temperature's up today to at least plus 14 Celsius, supposed to go up to 17. Look at this. Okay, we've got some more crocuses here. There's 3 little patches. Thing is, they're calling for snow again tonight, a little bit, but then warming up again. They're a little bit frosty looking. Pale color. I think the cold takes some of the color out of them. Anyway, we'll see how they do. Over at the tree. There we are, over at the tree. Pretty. And at the barn, I think we might have another one here now. 3 here, and 1, 4. And here are some tulips starting. We've been looking for them, but maybe we just weren't looking in the right spot, or maybe they weren't up yet. Here they are, lily of the valley. These haven't flowered yet, but we get that. But you see the light colored tips? That's, I think, from the cold. But hey, they're above ground. but now it's gonna snow. Well, we'll see. Here. Here. Want to give a little update of where we are in on the wrapper dress and what's left. These are the sleeves. So they're one-piece sleeves, so they will need to be sewn up, and there's piping with it. And then there's an oversleeve. These are the cuffs. I have some piping cut, but I may need to cut some more. And I have a feeling though, with the piping details on the cuff, that it might be a case of just doing with folds and putting the cord in and stitching down. It sort of looks that way. And okay, so it's the cuffs, piping, and the big skirt needs to be sewn up the front with a vent left at the bottom. But to attach the top and bottom, they're telling go ahead, I think, and sew up the skirt, but I might leave it unsewn, because I find it easier usually to attach top and bottom flat, whereas if you have the skirt already put together at the front in a tube, it's harder, I find, sometimes to stitch that way. You may have to add a facing so that there can be a drawstring channel, which is not a big deal. I could do that if I decide I want to do the drawstring. I was talking to Tracy about it because I'm going to make her one too, and she was saying, well, what about the belt idea? Usually I don't like belts on dresses, or at least I say that. I don't like the idea of it, but maybe I like the practicality of it. Actually, then maybe I don't mind them as much as I think I do. And so whether we need a drawstring, or you can just bunch it up in a belt, you know, like a tie. Now that's not the way that the belt is illustrated. The belt is illustrated as it closes, not tied on. But then I think I've seen plenty of wrappers that have like a tie belt. Though a fitted belt would work as well. I think it'd be nice just to be able to tie it at whatever diameter is comfortable on the day. So, because there's a lot of extra, I've tried this on, and there's a lot of extra material here. So, I mean, the drawstring, I believe, would go through to this piped seam. So I may need to put a facing on and do a channel. But then there's going to be buttons as well. And I might like the idea of just leaving it wide and comfortable, and then just cinch it up if you want to. So I may not bother with the drawstring, not sure, we're not there yet. But lots of room, a lot of room, a lot of inches here, but nice at the shoulders and that. I think the sleeves are going to be okay, though they said they're drop sleeve, obviously. And I wonder, because it seems then that it sort of falls down the arm on a bit of a, rather than a horizontal, it's more of a that way. And so you need more, a bigger sleeve, arm's eye. Maybe not too much. I think there's enough room there anyway. A couple inches anyway, so we'll see how those go in. And if need be, I can always cut some out of the bottom of the arm's eye to make it bigger space there. I know that they usually say to go the other direction, but since the shoulder's already done there with the piping and everything and gathered, I wouldn't be doing it that way to adjust the sleeve. Anyway, I like it. Tracy said she thought it looked good, so I'm going to start cutting hers. And then we'll be button closure. So, I don't mind having extra room. Here again is it possibly where this comes into play as well. If I hadn't have had that much overlap, then that would make a little bit bigger on the arm side.